guys? Welcome to the channel, Camel's Creations. Here you can see a whole bunch of stuff from automotive to fish to woodwork to cooking. But today we're working on my 2023 Genesis G70. The product we have today is a big mouth ram air intake. Got these from Car Tuners. I think they're about, I want to say 250 bucks, but I'll put the details in the description and a link. So with these, basically, they're intakes, or scoops rather. And the reason I got these is, you'll see more once I get the bumper off, but basically you got your air box here. So your air box has its own air scoop that goes in this way and turns to the right. Once it turns to the right, the opening is here though. So it is pulling in cold air versus hot engine air, but it's not direct feed. So with these should route this way, and you have your opening here. So with that opening there, you have direct air going to your air inbox. Right now I have the stock intake on and it hooks up to the stock one, so that'll all be fine, but eventually I plan on swapping out my intakes to basically open cone filter, and you'll still get direct air. So same thing on both sides. I do recommend downloading the instructions. They're on the website. I'll go through this as I do the install. As far as the box, we have both of our intakes for each side. I chose red. You have many colors you can choose: green, blue, black, whatever you want. They also have ones that light up, and you can wire that to your fuse box or your battery and choose your colors there. But I want a standard red look. I don't want it to be, too flashy, too crazy. So you have both your intakes here. You also have this here is called your AGS simulator housing. So one difference with this car compared to the Stinger is, of course, removing the bumper. That's a whole different thing. But this car does have flaps that open and close on radiator shroud. So we're going to be removing that shroud, but you need to create a simulation box for those pieces because you don't want the engine light to come on. So with these, you put the servos on your motors in here. That way they'll still work and turn as it should without actually moving anything, but you won't have an engine light. You got some zip ties, some screws, and a back plate. So like I said, I definitely recommend getting the manual. Go through everything in detail. So if you don't have the manual, you'll see everything here. So first thing is gonna be, of course, removing the bumper. And this will be how you remove the bumper on the G70. Should be the same for all motor types. You might have to put an intercooler on, or you may want to change your headlights. However you want to do, this is how you remove the bumper. So you're gonna have these pins here. You have about 8 of them. So you're gonna have all these pins, maybe 7. You have all these pins up top. You're gonna have some 8mm screws are gonna be in these corners. And then when you get to the bottom, you'll have the same thing. So with that, I just have a tool. This is for valve stems, but any sharp object or any pointed object. So you'll put that in the middle, give it some force press down. You can use your nail to pull it up, or you can get a plastic pry bar. Screwdriver may scratch it up, but nails seem to work. So with these, you want to keep up with them, of course, and you want to pop them back out, because to install them, this needs to be up. So you put everything back together, you'll push it in, then you'll press that down. You hear that click, everything's secure. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove all these up top. And like I said, you do have some on the bottom. I'll give you a short view. I lifted the car up, put it on these blocks here. It's not needed, but it gives you more room. So you do have these tabs on the bottom. So with these, they're not the pop-out tabs, but you basically get a that same pry bar or either a flathead screwdriver, and then you remove all of these. Should be the same on the wheel also. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see it, but you have one there, and you have one here on the bottom. So all the same. There is one screw. Get the camera to focus. You have a screw there, but we'll go through everything as we go, and I'll tell you what you need. I know for sure you'll need an 8mm, a 10mm, an extension ratchet, and a 12mm. But let's go ahead and get this bumper off, and I'll tell you more. We got the tabs off. They were actually very difficult. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up top. You need nails. I don't know, the power tool didn't work, it was too thick. That, or either once you press that button in the center end, lift up on the plastic. That way you don't have to try to pull up with your nails. Maybe lift up with the plastic, you can get it, but I don't know how to use my nails. So the next step is gonna be, you got 4 10 mils, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's what's holding top of the bumper on. So we'll get those off. So next up, we have 2 hidden 8 mils. So if you look right there, that is an 8 mil. So it's right at this bumper line, the bumper I'm gonna commit. You got one on that side and one on that side. And actually, these were kind of finger tight, so I didn't need a tool. I just used my extension and started screwing. So I'll get those 2 out. Next step, we'll come to your wheel well. You got 3 clips. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, it's 1 8 mil screw. These are pretty easy to get out. Just kind of get a flathead screwdriver. And you want to get under the head of it. Pry it out a little bit all the way out. So that's good enough. To your third one, that pops. And I didn't turn my wheel, but you might have to turn your wheel to get better access. Especially this one, but that pops out. And then you pull them all out by hand. Then you got 1 more 8 mil here, get your extension in your 8. Most of these 8s are hand tight, so you can use your hand and extension to get that out. So now you got your 8s. I'm putting all my clips together. Luckily, all the clips are different. And the ones that are still 8 mil are the same screw so far, but they are different outlets, you know. Next step after this is gonna be getting under the bumper. So at the wheel well, get under the car. You're gonna have 4 of those same tabs. I had 1 here, there, and there. The rest don't have to come out. Only the ones that you can kind of see your bumper on. So same thing here. Get that screwdriver in there. You just pry it out a little bit, and then they pull right out. Like, so I have my car on blocks. Kind of not safe, but you can jack the car up, do whatever makes it easier to get these bottom ones out. All right, once you get your tabs out, you want to get your bumper. Now you kind of got to tug on a little bit, so here's one spot you're gonna pull it. Takes a little force. You fully come out the tabs. Make sure your clips are undone before you pull. All those will come out. Same up top. So you'll come up here, kind of pull up and out. That'll come out. There's alignment screws in there, a plastic tab, so that's what's kind of snapping it in. Same up here. So there's a little bit of force, brand new, so who knows. Don't take a little force, guys. It's kind of scary. But these are these pins I'm talking about that are snapped in. So these parts here are what's holding in. That's what's making it kind of difficult. Be careful, don't pull too hard here. You want to make sure you don't mess that up. You get to the top, kind of pull up and out. And just work your way around. I would say take your time. You'll feel things snap out as it goes. See if I can get this one out. It's a little stubborn. There you go. A lot of y'all doing this. I'm sure it's the first time bumper may have been off, so it's gonna be a little stubborn. Kind of lift up, put down. You do have one wire harness to disconnect at the bottom, so don't pull it too far away. So with this swivels out, push in here, swivel that all the way out, pops right off. And that's how you take the bumper off. Brand new G70. So bumper has to come off to do your air intake, I'm sorry, the snorkels, and if you do your intercooler. So while the bumper's off, it's pretty heavy actually, but it's a good time to do your intercooler, your intakes. You can also clean your headlights with headlight film, whatever you want. And let me show you these stock intakes before we get to taking them off. I keep saying intakes, but technically air scoops. So like I said, they come in here, come here. You have an opening here, it kind of pulls the air in, and then if you look in there, it curves upwards. So we're not getting any direct air. We are getting cooler air, but nothing direct. So this is what we're gonna be removing next. To remove the stock air box, you got 3 10 mils. So this is your stock air box. You have one here, one here, and one hidden one right there. So that one. I think we're gonna take this shroud off later, but right now we're gonna get this air intake box off. So those 3. So we'll start off with the top 2. Keep up with these screws, you do need them later. That's one. Second one's gonna be here. Use your finger to grab the screws coming out. Don't drop it like I did earlier. And also, a quick note, the instructions said to loosen up the headlights and move them. I haven't found the need to do that yet. I don't know if that was a different model G70, maybe the previous one, but haven't had to do it yet. If we get there, I'll let you guys know. So now with those 3 removed, stock air box just slides right out, give it a little wiggle. There you go. So here's the stock one. Like I said, it doesn't really pull much air in, it goes up and it just kind of sucks from the top. So not too helpful. Next step is going to be to remove this sensor. So you push in on this tab, then you pull out, then you want to remove this bracket. I believe you put this bracket back later. So again, keep up with the screw and the bracket. Next, we're going to have to remove this shroud. So for this shroud here, you have 4 screws, also 10 mil. So you got 1, and then this one here on the corner, here up top, and then this other one down here in the corner. So same thing here, just your extension. Get to screwing. Careful not to hit your headlights. Right now, all 10 mils have been the same, so I'm kind of putting them together. To another side. shroud's already loosening up. Yeah, let's pull this guy off. Let's see, you do have some wires here. All right, guys, a couple of things here. One, I said you can mix the screws up. Don't do that. The 10 mils are different. So if you look here, you have coarse thread. The coarse goes into the plastic. So the ones down there, here. And then the fine thread goes into the middle. So keep those 10 mils separate. I'll put them back in so I wouldn't forget where they go. And another thing, the instructions, it says to remove your headlights and tilt them. You don't have to do that. I took them out, but I didn't have to move the headlight at all. So I'm gonna put those back in. The instructions, at least the ones I have, seem to be for the 2019 to 2021 G70. So that doesn't have to be done. Third thing, I don't have the AGS, or at least I don't have it where it's set. It's supposed to be here. No AGS, so that's supposed to activate some flaps in your grill for your radiator shroud. There's nothing there. So a lot of steps can be skipped to make this a much easier process. No AGS, no headlight removal, and none of this, you probably won't even need none of this stuff here. If I do use it later, I'll let you know. As of right now, I haven't had to use it. Didn't see any use for it. You will be removing this shroud because the snorkels do not fit with this shroud. So that will have to be removed. If you want to be creative, you can cut it, but I would just remove it. It's supposed to direct air to the radiator and condenser, but I mean, it's a big grill, so it should be enough. But if you really want it, you could cut it up, trim it so these will fit in here, but I'm going to remove mine. Last note for the clips for the shroud is wires and wire loom connected here. So you have these clips here. So you just take, you a pair of pliers, and if you take the wire harness off of this hook here, there's a round area that wire harness is in. If you take it off of there on both sides, so here's a round area. Take it off on both sides, you can kind of tilt it upward to get more room. But with here, all you do is get your grip pliers, or get your pliers, and you'll see this gray tab there. So you just kind of get them in there. You want to pinch it, not too hard, pinch it. As you pinch, you just kind of wiggle it out. So you don't want to break anything, but as you pinch it, it wiggles right out. I believe there's 4 of these, so once this is out, those are the things holding it in. You don't need this. Like I said, if you want, you get fancy, you can cut it and trim it, but I'm not installing mine. There's no AGS. And as far as putting these aftermarket ones on, you do need to swap over your seals. And they are labeled left, right. You cannot interchange them. So you have your aftermarket, take your stock one, and just pull up. You remove them. It says, they say L for left and R for right, so that help you keep up with it. But you just kind of move them. There's these little tab hook things. And you kind of move them in each spot. You do want to not rip them, want to keep them intact, because this is what's going to keep you from losing any air leaks. Put them on the same orientation upwards, and have the letter facing up. So get them on there nice and even. So you'll see where in there where it hooks at, it goes around that. Once you get them in there even, you just press in all the open areas for those rubber parts to meet. Make sure it's seated. You don't want any air to escape. And these are gonna go on using those coarse threads, like I said. So you will be using these screws, and they're pretty easy. I mean, you just slide it right over the factory location. Don't want to go too hard. Don't want to strip these. You get your extension. Now, this is only going to use 2 of these bolts. It's not going to use all 3. So they go in your factory location, put them on your extension, hand thread them in. Second one goes here on the bottom. Hand thread those in. I'll give a couple turns on the ratchet in a minute. Backing plate that came in a bag. Should come in bag with zip ties and some screws. So that plate goes back here because this does not fit in the stock location. So you need a 5mm Allen and your 10mm socket. Just tighten that guy up on there. And this basically just relocates it to the side away from this big air ram. So locking nuts is a little tough. So that'll actually go here, and you'll use your OEM screw, and that just repositions that sensor. I don't know what sensor this is, but it moves it over, so now it's not in the way of your intake. So put this back on with your 10mm. You don't need that shroud. There's no AGS system in the way here. So now to do that, we got this snorkel in. Other side, make sure your rubber gasket is on there. Gently slide that on, make sure it's sealed. Get that started, tighten them down, and yeah. This is your Velossa big mouth install. So once those are screwed down, make sure all your bolts are tight, make sure that's tight. No need for the headlight bolts. And yeah, next you push the bumper back on. So I'll put that back on. If I have any issues with putting bumper on, I'll record that and let you guys know, but it's basically reverse of what you did, take it off. All right guys, quick tip putting the bumper back on. Everything's in reverse order. And so I want to highlight a few things. So you want to kind of place the bumper kind of on there like this, just to kind of support the weight. And the biggest thing I ran into so far is you want to make sure that those tabs you took a loose on the bottom, you can see the blue-white color there. Make sure everything is under the bumper. So make sure all that's under the bumper. If it gets hooked under this liner here, you'll never get the bumper on straight. So make sure everything's under there. So I will hook it. I will rest the weight of the bumper on top, and then go underneath and kind of pivot this and make sure it's under that. That way they'll line up good. Make sure you connect your harness that goes down in there. Make sure that's connected. And once you get everything seated, you lift it up and kind of push. Once it's lifted up and pushed, I would go ahead and get your corners in. So make sure you don't scratch your headlights up here. And kind of angle that up, lift up on the sides. But once everything's lifted and in place and good underneath, I did the corners first, and I kind of pressed in here, press in where those tabs are. Make sure this is lined up evenly. You press in, kind of add some force like you did taking it out. Press all that stuff in, make sure all those clips are in. You'll hear the snap. And then, like I said, you don't want to scratch your headlights, so be careful with those. With this bumper piece here. Once everything's lined up, you push the screws in and push your cover back on. But here, this bigger tab here, let me get me a light. Got the Z over here getting ready for track. Okay. So this bigger tab here, it wants to go, when you push it, wants to go on the inside, but it goes on the outside of this. So as you push it, you can use your knee if you want lightly, but you're gonna have to bend that outward a little bit and lift. Once you do that, it snaps right in place, and then you give it one more good press, and that's that. So of course, put all your tabs back in, your 8mm screw, all your 10mm screws up here. Make sure your headline is good, and you press this in here. There's a couple snaps. There you go. Any part that sticks out is part of some snaps. There's 2 snaps here, a couple snaps there, about 3 snaps here. The middle has no snaps. Same here. Just give it a push. Your body lines are good. That's it. We now have our Velossa Ram Air snorkels in there. Looks pretty good. Got the sensor relocated with that bracket there. So if you have any questions, guys, let me know. It's a new car, new platform, so it's not much footage on this car. I couldn't find any videos on how to do this, so I'll be happy to explain anything I do. I'd be happy to try anything. You got any questions, let me know. I do have some raw footage and pictures, so if I miss something that you want to see, just let me know. I'll put in a video or I'll send it to you by email, anything like that. Welcome to the page. All right, guys, peace.